What illegal thing do you do on a regular basis? Not sure if it's apocryphal, but I've read of a student, in UK I think, who demanded that he be provided mutton and ale during the exams, citing an obscure university bylaw from centuries ago. The professors compromised and gave him a burger and coke. After the exams, he was fined for not wearing his ceremonial sword to the exam. Once a week I put my prescription drugs in a weekly organizer to make it easier to take them every day. This now makes sense why when I went to a concert in New York a bouncer warned me about not keeping my medication in a pill box. I haven't done it since that occurrence and always carry the medication in the actual container. He just pretty much nicely warned me about it, but damn, I didn't know it was against the law in New York. Learn something new every day. If it's illegal, but it's my district's policy that schools have to have one-way hallways, BC of COVID, and there were times I made sure nobody was looking and just snuck the wrong way because I'm new to the school and its layout is confusing and damn it I'm not walking around the entire school to enter through another door and being late to class. Horse thievery, fraud, murder, sedition, traveling across state lines for the sole purpose of fornication, speeding, impersonating a police officer, impersonating a man of the cloth, burglary, buggery, grand larceny, treason, hijacking, trespassing, desecration of the flag, grave robbery, bank robbery, fishing without a license, car theft, failure to support. I feed pigeons at the park. It's illegal to feed pigeons ... mainly in neighborhoods. Nobody really raises a stink at the park, though. I mainly just try to feed the doves, grackles, and peacocks. The pigeons are unavoidable. One time a rooster showed up out of nowhere, almost blew my cover. I like pigeons. They're a funny bunch once you get to know them. Edit. I feed them corn, sunflower seeds, peanuts, and millet. Bread is unhealthy for them. Just say no to bread. Smoke weed. It's not legal in the UK sadly, but sometimes I just need a day or so of low to no pain and my anxiety takes a break. For those couple of days each month, I can sleep soundly and wake up without crippling pain. This is one of the reasons weed has become legal in some US states. I live in Michigan and my fiancée has trouble sleeping when I'm traveling for work, so I get her edibles and it helps her sleep soundly. They even have 5 milligrams edibles if you are sensitive and need a small dose. I hope the world understands the benefits of marijuana soon. Not me, but my friend drives a taxi without a bale of hay. London Hackney carriages, taxis, are required to carry a bale of hay and sack of oats at all times. A very odd law, which has been in place for over 100 years. Many taxi cab drivers started buying extremely small bales of hay and bags of oats in their cars due to this law. Wear 2 earplugs to protect my hearing when riding the motorbike. If my helmet was a workplace, OSHA would require hearing protection due to the decibels level, but the state has wearing ear protection against the law. I can hear traffic just as well as an late model car even with them in. Driving through that one red light at 5 in the morning because the sensor simply does not detect my motorcycle and there is no other traffic. Depending on where you live, that's actually not always illegal. Some lights will not change unless they sense a vehicle waiting, and they often miss motorcycles. In Georgia, forgive me if I am wrong, I've lived in many states and often mix up laws. You have a duty to wait for a little while at least, and if the road is clear and the light is not changing, you may proceed. This only applies to the wee hours of the morning when timers are turned off and the lights are sensor only. I'm not enrolled to vote. Voting is mandatory in Australia and you're supposed to get a fairly hefty fine for not being enrolled, but they haven't actually followed through in the 10+ years since I could vote. They do send me vaguely threatening letters every few years though. Not me because I'm too scared of viruses, but I fully support pirating for preservation purposes. With the recent debacle surrounding Sony shutting down the PS3 store, I support emulating more than ever. If I could still buy my very favorite very obscure kids show from the 90s, or that weird game I played off a floppy disk at school, I would, but in a lot of situations I can't because the company doesn't care about the product anymore. Piracy FTW. I drive home late at night to a city that really dies down after dark. There are many stoplights that are time-triggered, and instead of waiting for them to turn green I treat them like super stop signs. I stop, look both ways, and if I see absolutely no one, I go. Just use a fake name mainly because I don't like people online knowing my identity, but also because I think Kevin sounds cooler than my actual name, but I also lie about my age online along with a handful of other things. It doesn't seem bad but it actually is bad. Piracy, smuggling, falsification of letters of marque and reprisal, impersonating an officer of the British Royal Navy, impersonating an officer of the Spanish Royal Navy, impersonating a cleric of the Church of England, sailing under false colors, arson, kidnapping, looting, poaching, brigandage, pilfering, depravity, depredation, general lawlessness. Speeding, it's the one traffic law that I don't follow. I will do everything else perfectly. Signaling, complete stops, like actually coming to a stop, driving defensively, etc. But if there's empty road, you best believe the pedal is going down, or the wrist is twisting. When the sumo mandarins are in the grocery store, they're like $4.99 a pound, and each one of those things weighs almost a pound. So sometimes I'll pick out my sumos that I want, and when I go up to the self-checkout I enter them as navel oranges, which cost so much less per pound. I am still paying for produce, just not an exorbitant amount. I don't own a gun, but if you buy a gun in the US there is a question on the federal application that asks if you use marijuana and states that even if it is legal in your state, it is illegal on a federal level. So if you smoke weed and you own a firearm, you are a felon. So far the Dodge has not used this law except under anybody? Yeah, Bill Barr and the Trump administration was the first to try and prosecute a medical marijuana user for owning a firearm. It is estimated that the average citizen unknowingly commits felonies every day. Not regular, but I did it a few times. I once worked for a horrible company. I had worked my notice and finished on a Tuesday. My final paycheck was paid from on Friday. A few weeks later they write to me to organize a return of the overpaid wages. One thing I learned working there is if a letter is sent via regular post, unregistered, the addressee can just pretend I never got it. They sent this letter unregistered via the regular post, so I did as they had taught me. They gave up after 3 letters. Vancouver, BC. Speeding. The prevailing traffic speed is 19 kph over the posted speed limit, and the police will totally ignore you at that speed. Even in a speed trap, there are bigger fish to fry. You will get pulled over for doing 85 in a 110 kph zone however. And the first question is, are you high? I take home stuff that I'm supposed to throw away. I'm a truck driver. When a case of something is damaged, the receiver won't accept the case even if nothing is wrong with what's in it. They leave it in my trailer and receive credit from the shipper. Shippers require me to throw the case in the trash. Sometimes a whole lot of cases. I haul groceries, so I usually take the stuff to a food bank or keep it, or a combination of both. Driving a tractor without an agricultural reason while only owning a Class T, Germany exclusive driving license. It's illegal because Class T and Class L are only for farming and forestry, but can be done at 16, while the normal legal age for a car license is 18. That's part of why a lot of farmers tend to get that license. The other is that you can pull trailers at up to 60 kph if they are built and authorized for such speeds. Though some farmers go for class vehicles over 7.5 tons with trailer because it allows up to 80 kph. And the reason why I'm doing this is that leaving a diesel standing can cause damage, and it's stupid that I can't use a 70 horsepower tractor with a 5.5 tons trailer at 25 kph to take some old pallets to our house, so my dad can cut the up as firewood. but I can drive a 500 up Fendt 1050 Vario with a crane-banded tridem axle trailer at 60 kph to deliver some barley to a merchant over an hour away. I do at least try and check the country lanes at times though to have a reason, since my dad owns some fields associated with those lanes, and can report damages. I jaywalk like a motherfucker, edit, but I always look both ways and don't endanger myself or inconvenience traffic to do it, unlike the asshole tourists that visit this town. Since technically, everyone is not wearing a mask under their mask, everyone could be said to be violating Canada's Criminal Code, Section 351(2) by covering their face to avoid conviction. AKA following the mask bylaws. The worst part of this law is the wording of Section 351 is predicated upon intent. So, it wasn't a crime until you read this, but now you are knowingly and intentionally covering your face to avoid legal repercussion. So it's a crime. You are welcome. These are the things I think about when I poop. I like to dig up plants and trees from county-owned ditches for my garden and yard. Apple trees, wild roses, berry bushes, lilies, and other things of that nature. It's illegal to do, but every year the county works department mows down all the ditches, destroying the plants in the process. So I figure, they are going to be destroyed anyway, they might as well come live with me. I'm not quite sure if this is legal or not, but I drive around with active explosives. Apparently my car has a recall on its driver's side airbags because they fail, and instead of inflating they just simply explode and launch shrapnel into your face. Still waiting on the letter to tell me I can take it to a dealership. I've worked about 40 blocks, 2.5-ish miles, from home, on the same street. For almost 15 years now. I have gone around the traffic blockade on the way home every single workday for 15 years. Macron /__/Macron. It's one of those bullshit traffic barriers to force people onto the main, business streets. It serves no purpose, and I can't be bothered to make two turns when zero does just fine. I look and laugh at the $290 fine sign every time. I pirate and trade brick many military instructions. Just look at my profile for proof. I have about $450k worth of them, but I do it since it's cheaper to get the instructions, make the digital parts list and order parts. Why buy $1,000 jet when I could build it for $150? Speeding. I'm in rural Illinois where the speed limit is a mind-boggling 55 on these long-ass empty fucking country roads. I will not do 55 miles per hour on these roads. That's ridiculous. Nothing is here. Fuck you. I will go 70. Late to the party, but I figured I would contribute with a U.S. federal crime with actual consequences. I used to work in a seed lab. Cropped seeds are regulated by the U.S. Federal Seeds Act, and every lot of commercially produced seeds must go through physical purity and genetic purity tests to ensure there isn't excessive contamination. These purities should be printed on every single bag of seeds that gets sold. The conditioning department at our site was not good at cleaning their equipment, so we regularly had contamination. The lab manager had to sign off on every physical purity report because she had the RST, Registered Seed Technician, license. She often had employees ignore contamination and put 99.9% pure seed if it seemed likely that our site caused the contamination. If the growers caused the contamination, the company wouldn't have to pay as much for the seed. If we caused the contamination, it was just lost money. If any auditor found out, the whole lab would probably have been shut down, recalls sent out, and fines levied. But they never check as long as the manager has the right answers when asked questions. Our manager knew the lawful way to do things, she just didn't do things the lawful way. Share a password for HBO Max with someone I don't live with, and watch shows on a website that has those ads on them for free. Anime with zero mid-roll ads, bless them. Also, I commit war crimes, but that is more of a monthly basis kind of thing. I don't know if it counts. If I'm turning left and have a red arrow light, and oncoming traffic has a full green with no on in sight, I take the turn. I call it the left on red, or why the fuck is it not a yellow arrow? Mainly only used early morning or late night, never during rush hour. Each year the Stepan Company legally imports coca leaves and then produces unheard amounts of cocaine, then sells 99% of that cocaine to the D, who in turn supplies it to gangs in major cities across North America. The Stepan Company then files that illegal profit on their taxes as illegal profit and the IRS doesn't even owe .0. Let's see. Pirate applications, books, games, TV shows and movies for Windows, Mac, Android, iPhone and Linux. Drugs on a regular basis. However, I do not speed in my motor vehicle. Speeding is reckless and dangerous to others. Can I get an IBAN? I love a good shoplift. I only ever steal from the big supermarket chains. I would never ever steal from a small business. And also my most commonly stolen item is tampons and pads. Fuck paying for those. I've also stolen canned goods to put in the charity bins at the front of the supermarkets. I figure the only people I'm hurting are rich CEOs with 20 houses. Plus I love the rush. When I was a kid I thought it was normal that we could buy movies the day after they came out from the Chinese lady in the chicken shop. I didn't realize it was a crime until middle school when I told someone my grandma had Avatar on DVD and they said that was impossible since the movie was still in theaters. Leave my wife's handicap parking card hanging from the mirror. My dad received a warning once that he wasn't supposed to keep it there, but only hang it when parking in a designated space. When he told me, I took hours down and read the fine print, and there was. Edit, we're in British Columbia. Here it goes. I sped. I followed too closely. I ran a stop sign. I almost hit a Chevy. I sped some more. I failed to yield at a crosswalk. I changed lanes at an intersection. I changed lanes without signaling while running a red light and speeding. And I have unpaid parking tickets. Be gentle. Prescription forgery for 9 years. Made from scratch. 1-2 times per month at the start and 3-4 times per week when I was busted 2008. It was my first time in trouble so I was lucky to receive 2 years felony probation. During that time, I found a doctor willing to give me Xanax and went to a methadone clinic. I've used both medications as prescribed for 13 years this November. This is not illegal, just something plain stupid I have been doing that I never mean to do. For the past couple of days I have been having soup. I have been doing the same thing. I microwave the soup. I microwave any other ingredients needed that are supposed to be hot. Then the soup is no longer hot so I microwave it again. But the problem is that every time I can't remember to take the spoon, that is metal, out of the soup. Also the dishes I have been using aren't microwave safe. What is also not good is that I hover over the microwave. Luckily the microwave has not exploded so far. I have been telling my friends as this has been happening and they think I should be cut off from eating soup, without any supervision. But I refuse. The soup is worth the danger and my opinion no matter how much of a demo I'm while making it. It's all about risk and reward. I'm not proud of this but I regularly drive under the influence of alcohol and marijuana. Truth be told is that, it forces me to be a better driver because, I am determined as can be not to get caught, and I sort of get a secondary high when I reach my destination without issues. I'm not afraid to admit that I am careless behind the wheel. I rooted a phone that has a contract on it. Yes, this is the only way rooting a phone can be illegal. If I take this to a repair shop, they'll probably never return it back, since I already modified basically every single nerdish thing on it. Like install a custom recovery for example TWRP. PS, don't try to root your phone if you don't know what you're doing. Change light bulbs. Change electric sockets requires electrician permit by law. Stream, to warrant content, speed/some illegal U-turns when nobody's around. Smoked weed for years before getting my medical prescription. Used to buy alcohol, cigs when I was a minor. Regularly also used to drink in abandoned places. private places, which is also illegal. My brain contains DMT and other chemicals which according to the mandatory law you can have any amount of in your body. I repair my own electric appliances when they break down, and probably more stuff I forgot. Open mail that's not addressed to me. Yep, that makes me a felon, but if I don't, my fiancé's mail will just pile up all over the house and then he'll freak out about having missed a bill for 5 months and we'll have to dig through all the piles. I just open it and basically screen the junk mail out and set the important stuff on his computer keyboard so he'll take care of it. Somehow the important mail also ends up piled up after he takes care of it though, so when I notice a pile hasn't had anything new added to it in a while, I pitch the whole pile. The new system is actually working pretty well, and since we got a puppy who eats paper and use tissues, nasty, the piles are now isolated to the kitchen table so I don't even have to go hunting for them. They used to show up in weird places like on the floor in the corner of a room or the back of the toilet bowl. Puppy is 80 pounds and can reach the back of the toilet bowl.